Live from Colburn Park in Newark, New York, it's time for Elmira Pioneers baseball as tonight the Pioneers roll into Newark looking to snap their two-game losing skid as they face off against the Newark Pilots. Good evening, everybody, for Elmira Pioneers Baseball Network and Pioneers Pregame Live. I'm Farrell Hudson. Once again, you're listening to our Pioneers Pregame Live coverage as we get you set for tonight's ball game versus the Newark Pilots. The Pioneers dropped the ball game 11-1 at the hands of the Auburn Double Days last night, which was a stark contrast for one reason from last Wednesday's game, a game at Dunn Field in which was a shootout between the Double Days and the Pioneers. Elmira eventually ended up losing 15-11 after having a 7-run lead after the bottom of the first inning. The two common denominators in each ball game were Hunter Lefkis, the right-handed pitcher for the Double Days, although Lefkis fared much better in last night's outing. Across 6 innings of work, struck out 5 and only giving up 1 run to the Pioneers. That came off the bat of Aiden Grabowski. We'll talk about Grabowski's impact in just a little bit, and manager Andy Drum also detailed a bit of Grabowski's impact as to why he's inserted back into the leadoff role. We'll get into the Pioneers leadoff spot tonight as well, and the rest of the Elmira Pioneers lineup. Currently at the moment do not have the Newark Pilots lineup, but this is a Newark Pilots team in which started off 7-1-1 in their opening 9 ball games. They looked like the team to beat in the Perfect Game Collegiate League Western Division. Everybody knows right now that the Amsterdam Mohawks are that team. Now, they're 5-5 in their last 10. Again, just like we alluded to on the broadcast last night, that's a really terrible stretch for them. The Mohawk Valley Diamond Dogs have advanced into second place in the PGCBL Eastern Division standings. Saugerties at 10-7, Boonville at 9-7, so very competitive. You look at the PGCBL West, though, and it's a really, really competitive division. The best comparison you could have, at least to the professional level, is like the American League versus the National League in 2024. Last year you had so many teams in which were competing for that National League spot. You had the Mets, you had the Dodgers, you had the Padres, whereas in the American League you had the Yankees. The Elmira Pioneers right now are playing in the Perfect Game Collegiate League equivalent of the National League. You have the Auburn Double Days, who defeated the Pioneers 11-1 last night from Falcon Park in Auburn. They are 12-5-1, 8-2 in their last 10 ball games under the tutelage of young head coach Matthew Petrossi, who's doing well, blending in different players. We saw Mark Gialuisi at the catcher's role last night make his debut against the Pioneers on the season, the freshman out of Rutgers University. Then you go to the Niagara Falls Americans, who are 12-6 in their opening 18 ball games. Batavia is 12-7 in their opening 19. Pioneers are 11-7. So we mentioned last night that it was a big difference between first place and fourth place. That's exactly what happened. Should the Pioneers have won last night, they would have been at least tied for second with Niagara Falls, or rather, they would have been tied for first because Auburn would have dropped the ball game to go to 11-6. Pioneers now end up being 11-7. They've lost 2 in a row. Can't put too much stock, though, into last week. You went 7-2 across the stretch in which you had 3 doubleheaders. Granted, you faced off against a Geneva Red Wings opponent 3 times, went 3-0, did your business against them. We know Geneva's struggles this season, 3-15 right now, second to last place in the PGCBL Western Division, with Niagara only worse at 2-14. We're going to get into a little bit of individual stats. It's well worth mentioning the impact that TJ Grimesti has had offensively, only trailing Grant Moore of the Niagara Falls Americans right now in so many statistical categories, most importantly in batting average. Grimesti entering last night's ball game batting .480 across 16 games for the Pioneers. Notably impressive, too, because you get Moore starting mainly in the outfield. For Grimesti, he's been behind the dish and hitting for average while playing great in the outfield. That's how fantastic he's been right now. Just an overall, arguably, you could say he's the best player in the PGCBL Western Division, maybe just the PGCBL in general. Another guy that has really been making his impact be felt is Noah Brooks. You've seen him DH, you've seen him catch. He's playing for the Newark Pilots, and he could potentially be in the lineup against the Pioneers tonight. 13 games played for Brooks, a .415 batting average. He has 17 hits on the season and 13 RBIs. We mentioned the parity for the Pioneers offensively. A lot of guys in the lineup who have reached 9 or 10 hits on the season now, but what is most impressive about what TJ Grimesti is doing during this stretch is he has 24 hits compared to Aiden Grabowski's 14. Keep in mind, yes, Grabowski started batting 190 across 6 ball games or so. Now he's well north of 350 after a week in which he had 12 hits in 8 ball games, scoring 9 runs, 4 stolen bases, a multitude of RBIs in the process, many extra base hits. You look at a lot of the usual suspects. You saw Tommy Kierwin in the lineup for the Auburn Double Days last night. He's tied for 8th with Justin Bremner of the Jamestown Tarpskunks. Zach Banks of the Geneva Red Wings is 7th, a .393 batting average. You want to look at on-base percentage. We mentioned TJ Grimesti, a .600 on-base percentage heading into last night's ball game. He's now cooled off to, dare we say, a modest .574. That's how ridiculous he's been. You have Grimesti in front of two players on the Amsterdam Mohawks, as you have Harden and McCrane for Amsterdam in 5th and 6th, respectively. That's how amazing it's been. And, yeah, you like having guys 1 through 9 in the lineup that can get the job done, but when you have that true pure superstar at the top of the lineup, it certainly can't hurt the Pioneers, and it definitely hasn't on the season with Grimesti, who's just been fantastic. If we're going on a team statistical level, the Pioneers started off with a .245 batting average, but as Andy Drum alluded to in the first couple of ball games, it was still getting a feel for everything, and then number two, that he never really felt like the Pioneers were out of at-bats. They have significantly less strikeouts than the rest of the PGCBL right now. If you're looking at Elmira batting a collective .266 on the season, a .396 on-base percentage. The slugging is where they're a little bit low, but if that's the most of your complaints, then you're not looking at too bad a team, especially considering one that's 8-3 at Dunfield after starting off 0-1 with that opening night loss. Right now, just taking a look at some of the overall underlying statistics for your Elmira Pioneers. They're 8th in the PGCBL in runs, 7th in hits, 6th in doubles, 11th in triples, and 8th in home runs. So you're looking at about a middle-of-the-pack baseball team right now that has taken off in the PGCBL West Division standings. And, yeah, we can still liberally apply the two words taking off, because an 0-3 start now has turned into an 11-7 finish in their first 18 ball games. They've won 11 of their last 15, and that's been battling all different kinds of adversity as they come into this ball game with Newark playing really well against the Pilots. We mentioned a 3-0 record on the season. Pioneers got it done with the bats last Friday, 13 runs off of 7 different Pilots pitchers. It was a bit of an uncomfortable go, though, for Elmira, even though they took home the victory. Owen Hoyt got the start for the Pioneers in what was his second outing of the season for Elmira. He pitched pretty well as he went 3 2/3 innings, was pulled after giving up a run on 2 walks and 4 strikeouts. Pioneers bullpen had to do the rest through 5 1/3 innings of work, but the real danger was the 7 walks and 7 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning. They say 40% of your walks that you give up come around to score, and for the Pioneers, well, 100% of the walks that they gave up in the bottom of the 8th inning came around to score. 7 runs on a couple hits by the Pilots, but the 7 walks were the biggest issue. Then you turn it over to last night's ball game. Yeah, the Pioneers only scored 1 run across 7 innings against the Doubledays right-handed pitcher Hunter Lefkis. Zach Herzog came in to finish out the ball game for the Doubledays, but Andy Drum, when we talked in pregame availability earlier, did not seem too bothered by his team's plate approach. He said that they thought he had really good swings. He alluded to the off-speed being executed by Hunter Lefkis and said he was phenomenal. He went fastball heavy, and we hit him well at Dunfield last week, and then he recalibrated and made adjustments last night. That's what you get from a lot of good pitchers, and if remember, Pioneers fans, Garrett Rochon maybe didn't have his favorite outing in Batavia in Game 2 of this season. Brendan Hayes against those very same Batavia Muck Dogs 13 days later at Dunfield only lasted 2 2/3 innings of work, and we're talking about the same Brendan Hayes that can execute with a nasty sweeper. He had 8 strikeouts in last Thursday's ball game against Geneva. No earned runs, 2 came in to score on 7 hits with no walks. So absolutely phenomenal on the Pioneers with their pitching part. And then we spoke about Garrett Rochon, a great outing against Jamestown this past Sunday. So that's the inside scoop lately for the Pioneers. Nolan Terwilliger also getting a spot start last night. Nolan's been phenomenal out of the bullpen. He came into last night's ball game 4 appearances on the season, a 1.29 ERA, and he got roughed up just a little bit, but for the most part, for the Pioneers, if you're talking about the lack of self-inflicted wounds, then you know you're talking in the positive direction. Yes, the Pioneers made 1 error last night in the field. They've made errors in 18 of their 19 ball games, at least 1 committed in 18 of those 19 games, but the defense not really a problem for the Pioneers last night, and a very potent Auburn Doubledays offense, which came in batting well over 300, took advantage of what was a spot start night for the Pioneers, and you'll see that with piecing together a couple bullpen arms, especially with the litany of games you have upcoming. You have tonight against Newark, tomorrow night home against Geneva, Saturday at Batavia, and Sunday at Niagara. Overall, the Auburn Doubledays, 148 runs across 19 ball games, a .302 batting average, a .431 on-base percentage, and they're towards the top of the ranks in a lot of categories. 4th in hits, 3rd in doubles, and we're talking the entire PGCBL, 3rd in runs batted in, and you just look at some of their wins in a lot of their ball games, 6 of their wins in a row have come, or rather, shall I say, all 6 of their latest wins have come scoring 9 runs or more. So offense is the name of their game. Pioneers know that they'll have to combat that the next time they see Auburn. The overall splits on the season, Elmira 4-0 versus the Geneva Red Wings. As we alluded to, they'll see them tomorrow night from Dunfield for Free Hilliard Baseball's night. 3-0 against the Newark Pilots. They're 1-2 against the Jamestown Tarp Skunks, 1-3 against the Auburn Doubledays, and 1-2 against the Batavia Muck Dogs. So 7-0 versus Geneva and Newark. You have to take that very lightly. It's a long baseball season. This is the Newark Pilots team, certainly very capable of getting the job done. You saw their hot start, which was tied for the best in the PGCBL through 9 ball games with the Amsterdam Mohawks. So that's a bit of a rundown on the PGCBL Western Division and the entire PGCBL in a nutshell. And to get more of a rundown on his thoughts of tonight's ball game, we'll turn it over on the Clubhouse Report. Here's Pioneers manager Andy Drum.
I'm pleased to be joined on Pioneers Pregame Live by the manager of your Pios and Andy Drum prior to tonight's contest versus the Newark Pilots. Coach, a bit of a tough one in Auburn last night. What are your overall thoughts?
Auburn played really well. They hit the ball well. They ran the bases well. They stole the bases, got the runners in. They just played good baseball last night.
Nolan Terwilliger got the start, only lasted 3 innings. What were you seeing from Nolan that were good and maybe some bad as well?
Personally, I really like Nolan out of the bullpen because he can come out and just empty the tank for 2 innings. Gave us a spot start last night. Looked really good in the first 2 innings. Kind of got roughed up a little bit in the 3rd inning. He's going to be fine, though. Like I said, I really like Nolan out of the bullpen for us, and he's going to be a dog for us down the stretch.
With so many games on the horizon in the next week or so, do you look to assimilate some spot starts in for some guys that are usually bullpen arms just to see what they're capable of lasting long term?
Yeah, for sure. Like tonight we have Zach Nelson going. He started for us half the season last year, was in the bullpen for half the season. I think Zach actually likes being a starter because he can kind of get rolling and just get out there and figure out stuff with the hitters. I think Zach's going to give us a really good start tonight.
This is a Newark Pilots team that you guys have hit incredibly well against. What do you notice from them that allows you guys to take advantage of their pitching staff?
I think a big thing is they give us a lot of free bases, and then we do damage when that happens. I think when we were here last time, they walked 3 guys to start an inning. I think Doobie hit a double, cleared the bases. So, we just got to capitalize when they make mistakes.
Last night, an unconventionally slow night against starter Hunter Lefkis, who got pulled without even recording an out last week. Last night, he was masterful against you guys. What were you seeing from the Auburn right-hander that kept you guys off balance?
I noticed he was heavy on the off-speed stuff last night. I think he was heavy on the fastballs at the dun, and we pounded him on the fastballs. We're a really good fastball-hitting team. He pitched really well last night. Hit his spots, kept us off balance. He did a really good job.
It was notable that the majority of his strikeouts came on that off-speed. Do you put that more on just the game last night, or is that an overall trend that you guys are looking to improve upon?
No, I think it was more just last night. I mean, we haven't struck out that much. I know we're towards the bottom of the league in strikeouts, which is awesome to see. There's some teams that are close to 150, 200 strikeouts at this point, so I think we're doing a great job at the plate.
Aiden Grabowski keeps his times rolling really strongly. Another hit last night. Is that what contributed to putting you right back in the leadoff role tonight?
Yes, for sure. I think every time he swings the bat, he puts a barrel on the ball. It's funny, last summer, he was the same thing, put barrel on the ball, but just right at people, and this summer, everything seems to be falling for him, so I'm very happy for him.
Coach, thank you. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
So that's Andy Drum on the Clubhouse Report pregame for the Pioneers as they get set to take on the Newark Pilots from Colburn Park tonight. Pios fans, just a reminder that tomorrow night it's Free Hilliard Baseball's night at Dunfield as the Pios return home to take on the Geneva Red Wings. Doors open promptly 1 hour before first pitch at 5:30. Be sure to call 607-734-2690 for tickets and go Pios. If you can't make it out to the ballpark, our live coverage will begin with Pioneers pregame live at 5:55 right here on the Elmira Pioneers Baseball Network. That will do it for today's abbreviated edition of Pioneers pregame live. We'll take a short break and come back with all your live coverage at the bottom of the hour. It's the Elmira Pioneers. It's the Newark Pilots from Colburn Park in Newark, New York tonight. For now, I'm Farrell Hudson saying so long. We'll see you in a few short moments.